Welcome to the first episode of Chera and Buckets, where we're bringing you back to the time of Siskel and Ebert, back to the basics of movie reviewing. So sit back, grab some popcorn and a Bud Light, and enjoy the show.
I told your father I'd always look out for you.
How? He died suddenly in a fire. Did you ask his ghost?
That's not witty, Scott.
You know who went to Harvard? The Unabomber. You know who went to Temple? Bill Cosby. You know who else who went to Temple? Ted Bundy.
That was a clip from Judd Apatow's new comedy, King of Staten Island, one of two new releases we'll be reviewing today. I'm Stevie Secrets of the Stoughton Wind. And I'm Willie Buckets of the Boston Post. In The King of Staten Island, Pete Davidson stars as Scott, a 24-year-old burnout from the forgotten borough who has more desire to get stoned with his friends than to leave his family home and start life on his own. The tragic death of his father, a New York City firefighter who perished in the line of duty, hangs heavy over his head. After his younger sister heads off to college, Margie, Scott's mother, played effortlessly by Marissa Tomei, decides to date for the first time after her husband's death, and guess who's coming to dinner? A New York City firefighter named Ray, played by stand-up comedian Bill Burr. He's quite good in this movie. This forces Scott to come to terms, get some ambition, and make something of himself. Davidson plays it straight as Scott, and I like watching him on the screen as a performer, both comedic and dramatic. But for me, the real standouts are Burr as Ray and Belle Powley as Kelsey, Scott's childhood friend and on-and-off fling. She brings an authentic Staten Island flair to the role and acts as a delightful foil for Scott. The King of Staten Island is about parents and children, grief and mental illness, but most of all, it's about friendships and what those friendships mean to the friends closest to you. I gotta really recommend this movie. I really liked The King of Staten Island. There's a lot of things to it, but overall, I liked this movie quite a bit.
I can't agree more. It's Apatowian cinema at its finest. You know, it's got everything you need. It's got a little bit of heart. It's got a lot of laughs, and you know, it's very long. But I think it works for this movie in general. I think the performances are great.
Well, let's take this back a little bit, though. You said a lot of laughs. Mm-hmm. It's not a laugh riot. For those of you thinking it's going to be something in the vein of Knocked Up or 40-Year-Old Virgin, it's not that.
I agree. It toes the line very well. It's very grounded. And, you know, I like Pete Davidson.
This and then Big Time Adolescence, which came out on Hulu, he's kind of doing a similar thing, you know what I mean? I saw Big Time Adolescence.
Nice.
I am not ashamed to say it, but a lot of similarities.
And the other thing he brings is an authenticity to the movie.
Yes.
Because, you know, he's from Staten Island. The setting plays a great role in this movie. You can kind of feel that he knows where he is. It's authentic to who he is as a person.
And he said that this was a love letter to his mom, to his dad, you know, and you take that. And another thing that I appreciated was, you know, we don't get some sort of corny flashback to his dad or whatever. You know, it's about friendships and what those friendships mean to the friends who you keep close. And what tied it together for me, when Scott is out on his own and he has nowhere to go and he goes to the firehouse. And we learn about his father through all these stories from these guys who worked with him, you know, whether it be Steve Buscemi or you know, peripherally Bill Burr's Ray. So I really like this movie. What would you give it?
I'd give it probably a 7 flat. 7 flat. It's a good Apatow movie.
Round number. That's a rookie score.
It's a good Apatow movie. If you liked Funny People, you probably like this. I think it's more similar to Funny People than it would be to some of his more raunchy films.
Stays way more on track than Funny People, even though I like.
It does
Funny
stay
People.
way more on track than
Way
Funny
more on
People.
track.
It's definitely a smaller scale than Funny People is,
Yes,
which is
yes,
more
yes.
of a grandiose kind of concept. But at the end of the day, I liked King of Staten Island. I think it's a good watch.
7-1 for me on The King of Staten Island.
I agree.
Really liked that movie. I would recommend. We love giving you our thoughts on what's in theaters and on streaming new this week, but even avid moviegoers like ourselves are late to the game on a few blockbusters and indie darlings. That's why we're bringing you our next segment, Quick Cuts, where we simply ask each other that age-old question. Hey, Secrets, have you seen anything good recently? Now I know that's the answer to that question is no, because you watched a little film by the name of The Beach Bum by Harmony Korine. Please, go
I did.
because I haven't seen this movie.
I don't want to go into it that hard and that aggressively saying that, it's this horrible mess of a movie. It's a mess for sure. But there's a few things I did appreciate about The Beach Bum. I just think they were handled very, very, very poorly. Fuck it, it was fucking sucks.
It fucking sucks.
This guy Moondog, played by Matthew McConaughey, he's like the soothsayer of the beach. People flock to see him on the boardwalk do his poetry. You only hear one poem by him throughout the whole movie, by the way, and let me tell you, it's not Bukowski. All these characters, they say, "Oh, Moondog, you're a genius." The thing about the character is we never get any evidence of this genius. The whole movie, he's walking around drinking Bloody Marys, fucking around with Martin Lawrence on a boat doing dolphin tours. I want more of Moondog's backstory. You get these little bits and pieces thrown in where it's archival footage of Moondog. He's given his poems, and it's pretty cool. I want more of that. I want to know why this man is so genius. I want a little bit more history on Moondog instead of it being this self-indulgent, neon, hedonistic party kind of movie.
That's what I was going to get to, because if we're really gonna fucking go down the rabbit hole of Harmony Korine's career, all of his movies are, people could say hedonistic, but it's lazy.
It works with something like Spring Breakers.
It does.
He's got these big budgets now, so why not make it an all-night party? And that works with a movie like Spring Breakers. I love the idea of a party and beach bum poet who's this genius. I think it's one of the most frustrating movies I've seen this year, mainly because there are these elements that are so good. You got these characters that are so interesting, a soundtrack that's incredible. You got Waylon Jennings in there, and you got a super cool setting of Key West, Florida that I haven't really seen before on cinema. It's trashy, but it's also like kind of contained and cool. You just somehow take all that and you just throw it away and make a mess of a movie.
The Beach Bum really makes me think about one central question, and that is, when did the reconnaissance end? What was the movie that ended the reconnaissance?
Well, I'll tell you that I think Serenity might have been the nail in the coffin.
Well, I think it was ended before that. We need a fact check. So give us from Mud. Give us from Mud. Yeah.
So Mud, Magic, Kumo and the Two String, Sing, Lincoln Crafted, Gold, the Dark,
Gold sucked. Gold is one of the biggest box office bombs of all time.
Gold.
White Boy Rick.
Oh, the Dark Tower with him and Idris Elba?
Oh yeah, that shit sucks, dude.
Like, what is
Sing
good?
also fucking sucked.
What is
You
good
saw
in this?
Sing?
That's what
Of
I'm saying.
course I saw
What is
Sing.
good in that range?
Yeah,
After
nothing.
2015, what is good?
This is also our producer, Nicky Pockets.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel like McConaughey, since, I guess apparently 2015, has been searching for that role that kind of did it for him. Because in theory, the Beach Bum Moondog would be like a role that he would crush.
It
but
is
I
him.
don't think he was. I haven't seen the movie.
He was very good in it. I'd give it a 5.2.
It's pretty high.
I will say I was never bored during Beach Bum. More
It's a huge
frustrated.
point.
And I think I would rather be frustrated than bored. Now for our review of the new Spike Lee joint, Defy Bloods. Unexpectedly, Buckets and I took a detour on our way to Spike Lee's Vietnam epic.
Well, don't spill all the beans yet, secrets. While browsing Netflix, we were recommended 2001's forgotten sports comedy, Juwanna Mann, with the tag @StrongBlackLeads pick for June with a 95% match for me. Oh, that's something on me.
It's the story of a bad boy hoopster who switches up his game in this gender bender from the mind of Jesse Vaughn. After an incident involving full frontal male nudity at a professional basketball game gets him tossed from the league, Jamal Jeffries decides he's going to join the Women's Pro League, and it's fucking terrible.
There is so much to unpack with Juwanna Mann. First off, and I think we got to get this right out from the gun. I don't know if it was clear from the intro, but we're looking to find Defy Bloods, and we're scrolling through Netflix, and it brings us to comedies, and like the third comedy is Juwanna Mann, and it says @StrongBlackLead 'S pick for June.
Yes.
Now, this film about an arrogant, womanizing, misogynistic basketball player going undercover as a female by the name of Juwanna Mann to
yes.
get a contract in the Women's National Basketball Association after getting kicked out of the Men's National Basketball Association is not strong. It is one of the most cowardly characters in the history of comedies.
Yes.
It is paltry, stupid, and most of all, unfunny.
Yes.
Brutally unfunny.
There's not even many jokes in this film.
No.
It was
The
labeled under
joke is
comedy.
that he has boobs and he's a man.
That's the only joke, and it's said about 20 times in the first half hour. But the thing is, it stops being funny after the first time we hear the joke about his boobs. Offensive in 2020, but I still just don't know what people were thinking back then. Did people think this?
Yeah.
Did people think this movie was funny? I just don't understand. And the thing is, I've seen this movie probably 10 times. It would run on Comedy Central all the time when I was younger. For movies that have come out when Juwanna Mann came out, what was it, 2001? You
2001. So you got like Zoolander.
You have a lot of
you have
funny.
Joe Dirt.
Even Joe Dirt has a few more memorable scenes than Juwanna Mann.
Yeah. I gotta say, I've watched this movie probably 13 times. It was more pure fascination and catching it right when he joins like the women's league.
And this is coming from two huge Kevin Pollak fans.
We're huge Kevin Pollak fans.
And the man seems so disinterested in this movie.
So Jamal Jeffries is walking to get groceries for his aunt, his Auntie Rose, right? Mm-hmm. And he sees a group of kids playing pickup basketball. One of those kids is Mavericks guard Seth Curry.
They ask him for an autograph, and earlier in the movie, this hilarious joke. Opening scene, he pulls out a stamper and stamps his autograph, and we're supposed to think that's funny.
He's walking down the street, they bombard him, he thinks like, oh, okay, even though he's been kicked out of the league at this point, you know, it's like, even though he's been kicked out of the league, they still recognize him, whatever. This girl,
Literally a child.
is like, oh, you're chips, you're this, that, the third, you know what I mean? Starts like roasting the shit out
Which
of
is
him,
a
you know
weird
what I mean?
layer that he's inspired from a small
by getting
child.
roasted by a child. And then after they leave and they don't want an autograph, she just starts putting the fucking moves on all the other boys. Mm-hmm. And so Jamal is like, wait, girls can be good at basketball too? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what it plays as. That's how it plays to people.
It's like
watching
an epiphany that like women can play basketball. It's the epiphany
women
he
can
gets.
play basketball and talk trash? He calls his agent and says, hey, Lorne, I got the best basketball player you've ever seen. Got crossovers, this, that, the third. And most of all, she's a woman. The Charlotte Beat is the men's team. The Charlotte Banshees is the female team in the United Basketball Association in this movie. I
love a good game of UBA, baby.
I love the UBA. I'm sweating right now because I'm like, how?
Well, you're sweating because it's also like 95 degrees and
It
we're
is
wearing
like
suits.
110 degrees.
We're
in
wearing
fucking-
suits for a fucking dumb bit.
But-
Kevin Pollak like wants to have sex with him when they're in
Initially,
there.
yeah.
When they're in his office, he's like, oh, this chick is the real deal.
Kevin Pollak goes, you know what this is? This is a 1-year contract with the Charlotte Banshees. Guaranteed. And Juwanna Mann is like, oh, Lord, no, I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm gonna play. I can't believe that you fell for it, biatch, and pulls up the wig, and it's Jamal. And it's like, Juwanna Mann is fucking poison. But I'll tell you this, if it is on MTV2 within the next 2 weeks, I'll fucking watch it. So, just a mild detour. We fucking watched literally Juwanna Mann before we watched The Five Bloods because we were like, this would be a fucking hilarious bit. And guess what? The answer was it was.
It was.
It was a hilarious bit.
I see ghosts, y'all. I see ghosts.
What happens to all of us, man?
Oh, you seen them too?
Yeah.
Dad come to you at night. Stormy Norm comes to me damn near every night. Now he talked to you like he talked to me.
Yeah, come on.
I don't think so.
Come on.
Fist up.
Get in there, David. Get in there. Put your fist up, David. Come on. Go, you too, Van. Go ahead. Fist up, man.
Come on, Paul.
Last night, we got a look at the new Spike Lee joint to Five Bloods, a film about the often forgotten black GIs that fought during the Vietnam War. We follow 5 of these GIs in present-day Vietnam as they search through the jungle for the remains of their fallen comrade and a chest of gold that was left during the war. Spike Lee interweaves the past and present brilliantly throughout this film, indicated by jumping aspect ratios that only Spike Lee, frankly, could pull off. The performances are all masterful here. However, the standout to me would probably be Delroy Lindo as Paul, the troubled Trump-loving veteran who can't shake the memories of war that still haunt him in the present day. Paul's trauma embodies everything that makes Da 5 Bloods so engrossing. Spike Lee's present-day Bloods, they're surrounded by memories of war as they venture into the heart of darkness one last time to get the reparations and closure that they deserve. It's equal parts Odyssey and social commentary, and it makes for an emotional journey that I definitely recommend. What do you think of this film, Will?
And I definitely recommend it too. Now, your point about reparations, that's something that Spike would pull off as effectively. You know, Drew Brees has been in the news recently. His grandfathers were welcomed as heroes. So why would you disrespect the emblem that embodies that heroicness? Now, what Spike Lee is trying to say is that no, my grandfather and his grandfather and the 5 Bloods, you know, they were not greeted as heroes.
For sure, and you get all the social commentary that you're talking about here, which I think is super impactful, especially in present times, and Spike Lee's able to weave the present time with the past, which I think is great, and show that their problems are still there to this day, which I think he always does in his movies, and I think it's beautifully done in this film.
One thing that Spike can only get away with is his use of archival footage.
What I love about this movie is you get all of this social commentary, this archival footage that really just paints the setting beautifully.
And you have this camaraderie, you know, that you instantly get. You know, we don't get many movies that focus on the elderly, you know, predominantly, you know, elderly cast, right?
I love Red. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Red 2, Going in Style, Book Club, you know.
You're a big Jonathan Majors guy.
A fantastic actor who plays Paul's son in this film. He's a breath of fresh air, and my favorite film from last year was The Last Black Man in San Francisco, and I think that in this movie it is just the same, where he is, you know, to the common you know, viewer, probably never seen him before, you know, but he's on the globe. His father is Paul, the, you know, Trump supporting, you know, riddled with PTSD. And this guy, you know, teaches at Morehouse College. It's a fantastic
And that's
dynamic.
the thing, Spike Lee is great at dealing with dynamics between his characters and with, you know,
social status, you know,
Exactly.
economic status, class, like, but again, it's one of those things that Spike can get away with. He can get away. I didn't even mean to wear this shirt today, but Spike can get away with anything. I think Da 5 Bloods is an 8.1 on any day of the week.
Yeah, I'd say I give it about a 7.9. I think it's a great movie. Well, that about does it for Chera and Buckets, the new movie review show. This was the first episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. But next week, we don't really know what we're reviewing because the movies are still closed.
So keep tuning in. Check in next week. Grab a Bud Light and some popcorn. And we will be seeing you folks. Cheers.
Brother.